What else? So one of the most interesting pieces of trail magic that I saw was I was hiking a section down in Harper's Ferry. Spent some time down in Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, and came out through Harper's Ferry and was climbing up into Virginia. And I stopped to filter some water at a stream, and a young couple came up behind me, and there was a young guy and a girl who were through hiking the trail. They were heading southbound, and anytime I see a through hiker out there, I want to pick their brain and talk to them and learn everything about what they're doing on the trail. And I was talking to them, and they told me their story of staying in Harper's Ferry, how they had planned on getting off the trail once they got to Harper's Ferry and spending a day in town and spending a night there and getting a good meal before they reset out on the trail. And they got off the trail that day, and it was later in the day, and Harper's Ferry is a small town, and the bank had already closed, and the thru hikers don't carry a lot of cash with them, but they had their ATM card, only to find out that the ATM was experiencing problems and they couldn't get the cash out of the ATM. They went to the local bed and breakfast that caters to the thru hikers and were explaining the situation to the woman who owns the bed and breakfast, and she told them that she would let them stay there that night, and the next day they could go to the bank and they could get the money out and pay her. And so they were very grateful for that, and they told her they were kind of disappointed because they had planned on going to this restaurant that night because they had heard on all the logs at the shelters along the trail that this restaurant is a definite stop for thru hikers. And the woman said that it's not going to matter anyway because there was an event going on in town that night or that weekend, and the restaurant required reservations and it was all booked up. There happened to be a gentleman in the bed and breakfast at that time that overheard their story, and he interrupted them and he said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to eavesdrop." He said, "I have reservations for that restaurant tonight for 3 people." He said, "My daughter and her fiance were traveling," he said, "and we're going to be in town tonight and we're going to meet me for dinner." He said, "And I got a call a half hour ago," he said, "and my daughter and her fiance, they broke down and they're not going to be able to make it." He said, "So I would like you to be my guest to dinner tonight. I have the reservations, and if you'll share your stories with me," he said, "the bill's on me." And so that's just another example of how you never know out there when you're hiking the AT when and where trail magic's going to happen.